I'm back at it again. El-Pres, I'm working on that today. What I'm going to be working on mainly is my magazine change and my turn. Stay tuned. Like I said earlier, we're going to do magazine changes. And this is a critical step, because if you mess it up, if you're doing all this number, you're wasting time. Obviously, shooting the 6 shots on the first part of the El-Pres and then transitioning from shooting to a magazine change back to shooting, that's a critical step. A couple of different things that are happening there. One, it locks back to the rear, or maybe it doesn't. Two, you're literally changing your sight from the target to magazine well. 3, you're pushing that magazine release. 4, at the same time, you're also trying to make sure that magazine comes out of your firearm, because if it doesn't, now you're wasting time trying to get it out of there. 5, you're grabbing your other magazine in a manner so it's conducive to you to put that magazine in quickly and effectively. And then you have to let the slide go forward and then get back on target. There's a lot of things happening there. So if you're trying to get faster on the El-Pres, or any other drill for that matter that has to do with magazine changes, you have to practice the magazine change a lot. So that's what we're going to do today. I've got 1 round in my firearm, and I have 1 round in my magazine so that I can change the magazine and try to do it quickly. I'm going to go over my technique, and I know there's several out there, but I like to keep my magazine, front end of my magazine, facing the center line of my body. That way when I come down, I can grab it and I can try to use this finger for a guide. So I use this finger for a guide. When you're doing a drill like the El-Pres, it's a standard drill. You can actually game it a little bit. You know that on that 6th shot, you have to change the magazine. If you have a high grip like I do, and it causes your slide to go forward, you still have to change the magazine, but this time you have to rack it, right? Because your grip is causing not really a malfunction, but you're causing the weapon to do what you don't want it to do. You want it to lock back to the rear, and if you have that high grip and it causes it not to lock back to the rear, well, you're gonna have to rectify that and you have to change your grip as needed. So we're in the part of the El-Pres after turn, after shooting twice, after shooting 4 times, after shooting 6 times. We have to come in, we have to look at that magazine well, and we have to put that next magazine in, let the slide go forward, and then shoot again. There's a couple of different ways that you can change the magazine and release the slide. So once you change the magazine, the slide's gonna be locked back to the rear. You can push down on the slide release or slide stop. It depends on how you want to verbalize it, but basically the lever that allows the slide to go forward and locks the slide back to the rear. You can push that down. I like that method. Some people like to pull the slide back and then release it. And do a demonstration real quick, really slow. So I'm here, this is my 6th shot. It locks back to the rear. After I empty my first magazine, at the same time I'm grabbing my second, and then I'm coming in and slamming it home. Now, I can push down on that slide release. At the same time, I'm getting my grip. And then shoot it, okay? You have to be careful of that. Your thumb can get in between your support hand and the firearm. Now, if I don't move my thumb out of the way, I'm going to be pinching my thumb in between my support hand and the firearm. So I need to get it out of the way real quick so I don't create space for the gun to move. The other way is to pull the slide back and release it. I don't like that because there's a lot of moving pieces when you're doing that, but it is a viable option. And it is a really good viable option if you're prone to pushing that slide lever down with your grip. If you're prone to doing that, maybe that's a viable option to pull back because you're doing the same thing over and over. As you shoot, you conduct the magazine change, you come over, pull, and then back in. Again, I don't like that because it creates more movement than just pushing down on the slide release or the slide lever. Slide release, slide lever, slide lock, you'll hear me calling it. Different nomenclature, but I'm talking about the same thing. I'm talking about the mechanism that either releases your slide or locks it to the rear. So this is what it should look like in real time. The ready position is on target. Remember, you've already shot 5 other rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be your 6th round. You got to change your magazine and then you shoot your first round on your second 6-shot string. This time I'm going to use the slingshot method, or pull the slide back and then release it. Or I'll attempt to anyway. It's going to be hard for me to do because I've already trained the other way. .275. One more time. .244. So you can see the two methods that are happening. For me, the slingshot method, where you're pulling that slide back and releasing it, is much slower than the other method. About almost a half a second or more slower, at least for me. Now if you train it, you're gonna get faster, you're gonna get more efficient. So just choose which one's better for you and then go with it. Back out.